Hey.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I'm your host, Dwan Twyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate investor. And I am so excited that you are here with us today. I have such a special guest. You are going to love her. But I want to go over a couple things first. Always you can go to Dwanderful. So Dwanderful, Dwanderful.com and opt in. I've got 4 free ebooks. And our motto here at Dwanderful is people before profits. So if that resonates with you, you are at the right place and this is the right time. And we're just going to have a good time today. We're going to interview our guest. We're going to find out a lot of really neat things about her. And then you're going to like and follow with me and like and follow with her. And we're here to have some fun with you. So first, I want to introduce Kristy Yoder. So Kristy, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm super pumped.
You're my badass boss babe today.
Yep.
I like that. I'm like badass boss. I like that. I'm going to start using that. I hope it doesn't offend anybody.
Hopefully.
That's okay. But you look like a badass. So I'm excited about that. So we start off, we just have a simple toast. So I just cheers. I'm drinking a live enzyme drink today. So cheers to you and cheers to all of you. Everyone take a drink. Everyone take a deep breath and do a nice stretch. And then open your mind. That'll give you a little boost of energy right there. Open your mind and just get prepared to laugh and to learn and to have a really good time with us. So again, I want to thank you again, Kristy, for being here. I have really been looking forward to doing this interview. I started following you on social media. I'm like, oh my God, she's so cute.
Thank you.
So cute. So what we like to do is we like to have you just very briefly tell us who you are, what you do, and how we can get in contact with you. So I like that to be right up there on the top of my show notes. And then I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions because basically what we want to know is we want to know what's your deal.
Yeah. Well, first, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be on your show. I love your energy, and I love that you're a very conversational person, and I feel like I won't feel like uncomfortable because you're just you, and you're like, just by showing who you are, you're like telling me just be who you are too, Kristy. Don't fake it. Yeah. So my name is Kristy Yoder. I am from the Philippines. I moved to the States 3 years ago. I am married to my husband, and we don't have kids yet. Maybe in the future. I run a virtual assistant agency, and I have a team of 70 plus team members. We help business owners, entrepreneurs live a freedom-filled lifestyle while running a successful business by assigning a team of virtual assistants to help them with their day-to-day tasks so they don't have to worry about their tasks and they can focus on what matters the most in their business. You can find me online on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Kristy Abby Yoder. You can also go to my website, KristyYoder.com. Or if you want to check out my virtual assistant agency, you can go to SmartVirtualAssistants.com. And just a disclaimer, I am from the Philippines. English is not my first language. So if I mess up here, just give me grace. If I say things that don't make sense, it probably don't make sense at all. So yeah,
The website is KristyYoder.com or SmartVirtualAssistant.com.
Yep.
Nice.
You got it.
Well, it's funny. Your English is perfect. I was like, wow, she's only been here 3 years. She must have learned English. She's really little. Your English is perfect. But
thank you.
It's funny because a lot of the virtual assistant companies that you find on the internet, they're actually in the Philippines, and you guys are here in America.
Yeah.
And so I feel like sometimes people want to work with a lot of the VAs, but I think knowing that they're here in America and that you're here and they can talk to somebody that's here instead of always over there, even though some of the VAs I'm sure are in the Philippines.
Yeah. Well, actually,
gives people a lot more comfort.
Yeah, well, actually, just to let you know, my virtual assistants, my team members are all in the Philippines. So it's just me and my husband here in the States, and my coaches, of course, and my are in our strategies. But our VAs, they are all from the Philippines.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good though. I've had a couple of VAs myself too, and they were also from the Philippines. And I was like, oh, I have to tell you, the Philippine people are just beautiful people.
Oh, thank you.
They are well, beautiful, like looking, but just they're like just beautiful people.
Yeah, we're very hospitable. We're very positive, and it's a third world country. I grew up poor, and we just make do of what we have.
Yep.
Yeah, and even though we have problems, day to day, we smile. You
Yep.
you won't even know that we have problems because we just smile all the time.
I know. Well, you know what, girl? Everybody's got problems. I mean, I told you about my husband and what we're going through right now. And I could just sit here and be like all mugsy and I don't want to podcast anymore. I'm dealing with too much stuff. But like that does nobody any good.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just gotta
And
keep it and you just gotta trust God to take care of you and you just gotta keep your heart open and you just gotta keep happy with what you're doing because your direct mood affects all the people that come in contact with you for that day.
exactly.
We've all seen that guy at the store. We're like, wow, that guy's a jerk. And then you think like, but we don't know what he's going through.
That's true.
But then I find
Yeah,
myself like praying over people.
that's true. I love that.
It's like I've walked up to people and said, can I just pray for you? And they look at me like, what? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I really feel the need. And they're like, sure. And I'm sure people are like, oh my God, I found some crazy Christian wacko.
I love that you have the courage to do that because most people,
I,
including me, like sometimes it's hard to ask for somebody, a stranger to ask, can I pray for you?
I don't
Yeah.
always have it. Sometimes I'm just sort of like over in the corner, like, putting the hands like, Lord, that person over there. But sometimes I just go right up. I'm like, you know what? Just speak out. But no,
Yeah.
it's not an easy thing. And that's something back in my 30s, I would never. I don't think I even got the guts to even do it till I got like in my 50s. So
Because you're like, I have nothing to lose,
they say no,
share
I'm still gonna
Jesus.
pray for them anyway as I walk away. So
Yeah.
okay, so I love the fact that you have your own virtual assistant agency. So tell me, how did that come about? Like, how did you decide one day, I'm going to have a virtual assistant agency because everyone I know needs virtual assistants?
Yeah. That is
Everybody.
a good question. So when I was in the Philippines, I met my husband and we got engaged and we
So how did you
decided
meet
that
in the Philippines?
what's that again?
How did you guys meet in the Philippines?
We met online. So it's an online Christian dating site. It's called, can I mention the name?
Yes.
Okay, it's called cmatch.com, short for cmatch.com. So it's where quote unquote Christian people go to find, their future wife or husband. So we met online and then we were friends for a year. Well,
Mhm.
but we've been talking for like quite some time already before we met physically. And so one day he decided to visit the Philippines because he thinks that he has a friend in the Philippines, which during that time, was me. And
Right.
so, and so like, I'm single, I have money. So why not go to the Philippines and visit my friend, Kristy? And so he went to the Philippines. And after 3 days, our feelings got resurrected. We,
Ah,
we kind of told each other how we like each other even when we were still friends, and we decided that we want to date each other, so we dated. And then that was 2018, and so he went to the Philippines 3 times in 2018. The third time he proposed, and the last time he was in the Philippines, that was when he picked me up to come here to the States. And so when we got engaged, I decided that I am going to leave my corporate job in the Philippines and that I will start freelancing work. And so while I am employed at a profitable organization, I decided that I'm gonna take in some part-time clients so that I can prepare myself, save
ah,
money before I quit my job, and be able to save up for my future, for my wedding and all that kind of stuff. And so I quit my job, started freelancing full time. I consider myself a multi-skilled virtual assistant. I
yes.
am extrovert. I easily can do anything, just tell me how to do it. I'll figure it out. I'll go to YouTube, Google. I'm a very resourceful person. So And that's why freelancing, being a virtual assistant, that was so perfect, for my personality. So I
Yes.
learned how to do social media. I learned how to create websites. I learned how to do marketing, any kind of digital marketing. Like I can do all that. It's just easy for me to learn things. And so now that I moved, when I moved to the States in 2019, I got married, and then all of a sudden I got this sudden influx of clients, and they wanted to work with me. And I was so stressed and overwhelmed, like I couldn't even keep up with my personal life, because I was still, during that time I was still adjusting to the new season in life that I had back then. And I was like, I'm stressed and overwhelmed. Like I need to find somebody else to do my clients' projects. And I so love people. I love them to the point where I can't say no to them. Saying
Yeah.
no to them feels like I'm rejecting them. Feels like, you know what, you're not good enough for me as a client. I'm not gonna take you. That's how I felt during that time whenever I say no. And so I thought to myself, well, instead of saying no to them, why not just hire people from the Philippines, to help me, with my clients? And so
Yes.
the more I hire virtual assistant from the Philippines, the more I grew my business, and it just became an agency. And so now we have helped 200 plus business owners, with my team. And we've been in the business for like 2 years and a half already. And I am so proud with the kind of work that we provide to our clients, because I know how hard it is, to do everything alone in your business. And I can understand, a business owner's frustration, when it comes to dealing with their day-to-day tasks. And so that has been my mission, to help my fellow entrepreneurs here in the States, afford a virtual assistant, not just a virtual assistant, but a team of virtual assistant.
Yes.
Because I know I know that, if I hire one virtual assistant, I cannot expect that virtual assistant to do everything for me as well. So I need different virtual assistants with different skill set that does what they enjoy doing, to help me scale my business. So we provide a team of virtual assistants, to business owners here in the States, and even in the UK and Canada. And at the same time, helping my fellow solopreneurs, freelancers, in the Philippines, because, I know how it feels like living in a third world country. I
Yeah.
wasn't getting enough money. I wasn't getting the compensation, that I deserved, way back, when I was still living in the Philippines. So I know how it feels like living in a third world country. And so it has also been my mission to help those people in the Philippines find a stable job that can provide
Yes.
for them.
Yes. And give them a better life over there too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is so it's funny because it's like that just sort of evolved for you because you had done it and then you got over here and you're like, hey, there's so many people that need help like that. And so I just find it really interesting how people's sometimes their business just evolves from a need that they had for themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
didn't you tell me you have like you have 70 plus virtual assistants that work for you now?
Yep. 70 plus team members. Yeah. So I have
So
I
what
have
do you
my
think is one of
operation.
the hardest things for entrepreneurs, especially I think most entrepreneurs are a little bit of a control freak because we want to manage and micromanage everything and want to make sure it's done the way we think. So what do you think one of the hardest things is for entrepreneurs to do or to let go of or whatever to get themselves a virtual assistant?
I mean, the main thing is that they are just afraid of somebody, taking care of their baby. Our business is our baby, right?
Yes.
So we built it. We know the ins and outs of our business. And so we are so afraid. I mean, even myself, I was so afraid to have somebody take care of my business for me, and not be able to take care of it, the way how I take care of it. And so I think that is the biggest fear most business owners have. And they have fear of not being able to control everything.
They do.
We Yeah, and I was like that before. I'm a very extrovert person. I have a dominant personality, but I'm learning more and more that the more I delegate, that means I am empowering somebody else, to do the things that they are good at.
Yes. It's funny. When I started my real estate investing over 30 years ago. And once I had wholesaled and flipped a bunch of houses, I like needed someone to help me with stuff, especially paper, because I'm not good at paperwork. And I remember just doing everything. I was like, I don't want anybody to do it. They won't do it right. And it was one of those moments where it like changed my life. I was at some airport on a layover and I thought, well, I'm just going to find a book to read. I walked into the bookstore at the airport and they had like one of those little small books that you can read like on a flight. And it was about learning how to delegate. And I thought at this point, I had not delegated one thing. And I read that book and I thought, man, I have to learn how to delegate. I have to let go. I'm going to die trying to do everything by myself. And I am telling you, the very first person I ever hired, her name was Laura, as my assistant to help me. I delegated her. I micromanaged that poor girl to death. She's like, listen, if you're going to let me do this, let me do this. You take this time and do something else. Stop standing over top of me. And that was the hardest thing, the very hardest thing of everything I've ever done in my business was delegating stuff to other people and then not micromanaging them and letting them actually bloom and blossom in the spot that they're in.
Yeah, that is
It's
so
hard
true.
to do.
It was hard, but I grew in that area as well. I was a control freak. I didn't want anybody, to touch my clients' projects because if they mess up, that means I mess up, even if I wasn't the one who messed up, because I'm the one accountable to my clients. But then I realized, delegating a task to somebody is not about just taking off something from your, off your plate. When you delegate a task, you really need to explain to that person,
Yep.
The why, the what, your vision. You're telling that person, hey, I want you to take on this task because, I know that you can do this better than me. You have to explain the reason behind the task that you are delegating and be available for them as well. We cannot expect somebody to read our minds and be able to get something so perfect, in one go. So
I
we
could
have
not agree
to,
more. It's
yeah.
funny because once I delegated, I was like, so the first person I actually hired was a bookkeeper because I really, some people, like I'm a very creative. I'm rehabbing houses. I can decorate, design, but like the paperwork, I was really boggled down by paperwork. So the first guy, I hired a bookkeeper. I'm like, I'm hiring a bookkeeper. And then I hired a housekeeper. So I'm going to get a housekeeper, take care of the house. We get a bookkeeper, take care of all the paperwork. The two things I hate the most are the first two things I did. But then once I felt, I guess, safe enough to teach this person and let them have it. I am now the master delegator. I literally delegate 100% of the things that I do, except for like actually talking to people, doing podcasts. I do all my own social media posts. I post my own things. I enjoy that. But I have delegated everything. I mean,
Congratulations.
and my husband is always like, well, you can delegate everything but me. You can't delegate me out. I'm like, no, you get a say. But it took me, and it was not a joke. It took me a long time. And then now my husband is always like, you delegate too much. I'm like, no, I do not. Because what I enjoy the most is the teaching of new students, the training, the podcast, and getting to know people. I like social media. So when I do those things, I feel happy. When I do all the other stuff, I don't like it. And there's no reason for me to do everything. So I became like an over delegator.
which is, I think, better than not delegating at all.
I mean, I have someone like, listen, clean my house, walk my dogs, take them to the grandma, go buy my groceries, do my laundry, make my bed. Here's how I want things done. And then I'm like, and Bill's like, you delegate everything. I'm like, and like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. I mean, if you can afford to delegate everything, why not do it? You'll have so much freedom and flexibility in your schedule.
Yeah. And it gives me time to work out and see my kids and my grandkids and travel and, and so, yeah, once I got the hang of and this didn't happen right away. It was like a decade. I got like one person and micromanaged to death, this poor girl. And then I got a couple more and like a decade in, I was like, you know what? I'm delegating all the things I don't like. And I have never been happier working for myself since I started delegating. So I tell people all the time, you got to delegate, you got to get virtual assistants. And the nice thing is that you're here in America. And I know that a lot of people are like leery, I think, of working with people out of country if they can't like see them and know that they're here. And so I feel like that gives you like a major benefit that you're in the States, and it doesn't matter where the VAs are, but you're here and people could like fly there and meet you and see your face if they wanted
Yeah.
to. And I think that gives you a really, really big advantage to build, like, you'll be the biggest VA assistant in the whole United States.
That's the goal.
Number one, girl. Well, hey, that's always my goal. Be number one at everything. So I am saying it right now, putting it out there. You're going to have the number one VA company in the entire United States.
I believe that.
So we're just letting God know that that's our plan.
Yep.
Get in line with us, right?
Yep.
No, you're going to be great. So you said you grew up in the Philippines. So when you were like 13, 14, 15, what were you doing back then? Like, what was the young teenage Kristy? What were you doing? What was your daily life like?
You won't believe it. During grade school, I was top of my class. Like, I really did great. And then, so during that time, we didn't have K-12. I don't know if you call it K-12 here in the States. So we only have 6 years in grade school.
Oh, okay.
Here in the States, you have like 8 years, right? You have like junior.
Yeah, kindergarten to the 12th grade.
Yeah. And so when I was 14 years old, and I think that was second year of high school, I met a guy, and he was my first boyfriend, and I fell in love, and I got crazy over him, and I started cutting classes. I dropped out, and so I did not go to school for third and fourth year of high school. What happened was I got so many bad influences during that time, during second year of high school, and I just went out, to drink with my friends, party, and all that kind of stuff. And my mom, one day when I was somewhere drinking with my friends, my mom texted me and she said, "Hey, you need to come here tomorrow because I found out that in our town there's this thing that they called, like an acceleration test for out of school youth." And I was an out of school youth, and I was like, "Okay, well, I'll do that. I'll go." And so I found out that I have to go there like once a week for a year to review for the test. And so I went to that town hall and reviewed for the test, but I only went there for like maybe 2 or 3 times consecutive. And then after that, it wasn't just my priority during that time. My priority during the time is have fun with my friends, and be happy,
I feel you, girl.
And so after a year, my mom contacted me again. I was out drinking with my friends, and she said, "Hey, the exam is tomorrow morning at 6 a.m." And she texted me around like midnight, and I was like, "Oh, I'm drunk. Like, how do I do that?" And so she said, "You need to come home so that you can prepare for your test." And so I went to my mom's house. I think that was around 4 or 5 a.m. I didn't even take a shower. I don't remember if I even brushed my teeth or something, but I tried to be awake. And so I went to the place where they're gonna have the acceleration test. And I took the test. After a week, I got a text from my mom that I passed the test. And so I didn't have to go to study third and fourth year. I can skip that, and then I can go to college. Then I went to college, and I did the same thing. During that time, I was already working, so I just paid my clients, no, my classmates to do my projects for me and assignments, and then I graduated college.
And I gotta tell you, I partied so once I discovered boys, I partied so much. I went from like 15 to 30. I was just I was drinking, snorting cocaine. I was out of my mind.
Yeah. And someone asked me just last week, like, do you regret what you did? I'm like, do I know it's bad? Yes. Will I encourage my daughter or my kids to do the same thing I did? Maybe not, but do I regret it? I'm like, not really, because it made me who I am, It
does. I have to be honest. So in America, in the 1980s was like the most decadent. It was disco. It was like really wild. And I turned 21 in 1980. So I worked at a bar. I was bar hopping. I was drinking. I was doing drugs. I was just crazy. And then I look back and it's like, if I hadn't done and honestly, it was like one of the most fun decades I ever had in my whole life. I mean, it was so fun. Like I look back on it and I don't ever look back and go like, oh man, I was such a drug addict. I'm like, my God, I had so much fun.
Yeah, I had so much fun as well. And during that time, during my high school years, my teenage years, I don't know if you can still remember, but that was the era of, punk rock music,
Oh yeah.
gothic, emo rock, So
Oh
I was
yeah.
that kid. I
Yeah.
had like side bangs with black nail polish.
You were the emo kid. I was early. I was the disco queen. I had the
Yeah.
big hair and the big platforms but and I mean, obviously I spent a whole decade kind of wasted, but also kind of not, because I ended up discovering my business through the course of all that and deciding it was time to get serious.
Yeah, that's true. And
So
when
I
you're
don't know.
young, you just have fun,
You
right?
don't care.
But I'm glad, looking back, everything that I did and how I got saved from my mess. I was just very grateful to God. And, I just realized that no matter what you do, if God has something for you, God will redirect you to the right path. And that's what
Yeah,
he did to me, like,
yeah.
explaining everything, describing everything that I did during my younger years, it does not justify what I really did back then, but no matter what I did, the most important thing there is that God saved me, and
Yep.
he put me, to the place where he wanted me to be. And I know that I'm supposed to be here in the States, helping
Yep.
business owners, helping Filipinos, back in the Philippines.
Yeah, I love it. So about what age, where did you have like the mind shift of like, okay, I need to stop all the stupid stuff and I need to start straightening up a little bit? About what age did that mind shift start?
I think around maybe 22 years old.
Oh, earlier than me. I was like 30.
Yeah, 22 years old. I actually met a guy at a bar and he was married, and we fell in love, and I asked him to leave his wife and his family. He had a daughter, and this poor guy, you know, left his family to be with me. So we lived in
Oh.
together. Yeah, but after 5 years, we broke up because he was a womanizer, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
Well, if they
so
cheat on their wife, they're going to cheat on you too. So
that's true. Yeah.
as I had a couple married men in my 20s, and I bought the whole story. My wife and I don't sleep together. We don't get along. We're only together for the kids. I bought
Yeah.
into all that bullshit too. And then I realized at one point, like, well, if they're going to cheat there, they're going to cheat on me too. So you start off with the cheater. It's like that doesn't go anywhere.
That is so true. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
all right. So
but
you were younger, 22. So you were like starting to be like, okay, I need to sort of straighten up. And then about what age did you like get into the assisting and the business and start thinking like, you know what, I could actually have my own business?
well, I think 27 during that time. That's how old I was when I met my husband. But I knew that I have that entrepreneurial spirit in me,
Yeah.
because when I was still in grade school, I helped my mom in her small salon business. So my
Yes.
mom, she's very courageous, and she's a
Yeah.
businesswoman, and she's a risk taker, and I got those personalities from her. And so she really did not teach me step by step how to start a business, but she kind of showed me,
Good.
through her actions, through her decision making. And so I learned from her, and I realized that now everything that I know, the values that I have in terms of, running a business, I got it from my mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because when we're young, we think our parents are so stupid. And then when we get older, we're like, wow, my parents were actually pretty smart and wise, and they really gave me a lot of good advice. I was a stupid one.
Yeah. That is so true. And during my early years, my during my high school years, I was asking myself, like, why did my mom allow me to go party and did not stop me from doing all those bad things? And I was like, oh, because my mom trusted me. She trusts me enough. She knows that first, I'm a smart kid. And that she knows that I would be able to protect myself.
No, I snuck around. I used to sneak out of the house and stuff. One day I sat down with my dad and told him all the things I did. He goes, girl, you didn't sneak out. I knew what you were doing. Like, why would you not stop me? He's like, what am I going to do? Like, lock you in
Yeah.
your bedroom? You're going to sneak out your, and like, how am I going to do that? So it's funny. It is
Yeah.
funny. And then it's like, now my kids I have three, they're all in their 30s. And they used to always be like, you're so strict, you have so many rules. But now that they're getting to have kids of their own, they're like, gosh, you were like the most fun parent ever. I was like, that's right.
I can see that.
That is right. My kids always I was strict though. I really was, because I knew how wild I was. I told them all, I said, listen, and some people lie to their kids and don't tell them. I said, I was wild. I slept around. I did drugs, did all this stuff. And I'm telling you right now, and if you do that, I'm going to kill you myself, because you're not going to repeat what I did, because there's a lot of repercussions from that, like,
Yeah.
breaking up marriages and
Yeah.
stuff. I told my kids, like, you guys are not going to do that stuff. And so I actually have three really straight kids.
That's really awesome.
So, I mean, they've all dabbled in the drugs. They've all tried a little bit of everything, but they're just like, you're right. This is not worth it. And they're all into business, and they're all into real estate. I'm like, see, I cut you guys off like a decade and a half of crap.
You save them so much time.
But yeah, so now give us one actionable tip, like for a person that's like, okay, I need someone to help me with something. What would be a good thing for like someone who doesn't like to delegate? What's a good first thing to start delegating?
I'd say delegate the thing that you don't like doing and you're not good at. Because if you don't like doing it and you're not good at it, what's the point of learning how to do it, right? If you're not even going to enjoy it. So delegate that thing 100% of the time. Just like what you mentioned earlier, like you hired a bookkeeper, to work on your financials. And not a lot of people can do bookkeeping. There's a lot of numbers involved, and I don't like doing it. So actually, one of the first few things that I delegated was bookkeeping as well. And
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
I love that.
but my first hire was someone to do sales call for me. I love doing sales. you know do I enjoy it? No, not really. Like, I mean, it take out so much of my time and energy. But I love talking to people. But sales, pitching my services to other people, I just don't love it.
No,
I don't like doing
either.
it. But I know that I can be good at it, but I don't enjoy doing it. So why not? Why force myself to do something that I don't like doing when there's somebody else who enjoy
does?
doing that? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I tell people too. I'm more like, well, delegate what you don't like. But then people are like, yeah, but like a bookkeeping, like then you're delegating someone else to do your books. And what if they make a mistake and there's tax issues? Like, people are afraid to delegate. But I tell you, once you delegate, I feel like you can actually grow once you learn to delegate.
I love delegating. I'm kind of like you as well. I delegate everything that I can delegate. Like, actually, you can also delegate to not just to people, but you can also buy like other things to help you do your work, like technology. You can automate your system. You either delegate or automate it. And the past week, I realized that I have been busy on Saturdays. Like, I told my husband one day, you know what, I need to get that Zumba robot, whatever vacuum cleaner that's available online, because I'm tired of vacuuming and mopping our floor on Saturdays. Like, I've been doing that, like mostly Saturday, and it takes a lot of my time. I told my husband, this is the weekend. I'm supposed to like rest and watch TV shows that I like. And so I told him, if we're gonna get this little robot to vacuum our floor, even if we spend like between $200 to $500, that money is gonna be worth it, because I'm not gonna do anything else. Yeah.
It is worth it. I agree. I love delegating. All right, so I want to ask you some questions. So, so I know you grew up in a different country, but what's your favorite band? Do you have like a favorite band of all time?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I do. Do you normally ask this question?
Yeah,
Or
I love
you
because
do?
you know what? You can tell a lot about people with the music that they listen to.
Oh, I love I don't know if you know this band, but it's a progressive rock metal band. It's called Coheed and Cambria. So I
What
like
is it
them.
called? Say it one more time.
Coheed, Coheed, and Cambria, Cambria.
I don't know them. And I'm a real big music lover. So there's only been, out of the whole 4 years I've had my podcast, there's only been 2 or 3 people that named a band I didn't know.
Hmm.
So now I'm going to Google them. I'm going to put them on YouTube and listen to some of their music. So
Yeah, I asked if you normally ask this question because I told you that I was an emo kid, so I was like just curious. But
yeah, yeah.
they're a great band.
Well, when the emu start and the grunge started, I was already, I don't know, maybe in my late 40s or something. But I really loved Kurt Cobain, and I really loved that music. I was like, oh my God, that music was wonderful. I loved that music. And so, but I just didn't get like super deep into it because my kids were into like the poppy stuff.
Yeah.
Country of all things. I was like, where did you guys learn how to love country music? Where'd that come from?
Taylor
So
Swift, something like that.
Yeah, so I never really got like super into it, but I feel like you can just tell a lot about people by the kind of music that they listen to.
That's true.
And when it's ever a band I don't know, I listen to, I'll go and like I'll listen to them today and learn because I love music. Since I was little, music was in my house all the time. My dad played guitar, like people would come around and we'd have sing-alongs and I listen to music every single solitary day of my life, like every single day.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a community where we all love karaoke. I'm not sure if it's big in Colorado, but I mean, I don't think it's
I
big
love
here in the
karaoke.
States, but in the Philippines, we die just to sing karaoke.
I love
You know?
karaoke. I've been going to karaoke with my kids forever. I love karaoke. Oh my God, they have the places here now where I think they're more like they are in Japan, where you rent a room and you go in like a karaoke room, have like a party in there with your friends. So
Yeah.
did they do that? Yeah. So I had never seen that because when I grew up, karaoke was like in a bar. You got to
Yeah.
talk to everybody. And then my daughter, she's like, she loves everything Japanese. She speaks Japanese. She says, hey,
Yeah.
Dad, this is a karaoke place. And we got there and like you rent a room. And so there's like 10 of us in a room by ourselves and we're drinking and singing. I'm like, oh my God, this is like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
So
I love
I
that.
do that
Yeah.
with my kids. I love it.
But yeah, I love it too. Like in the Philippines, when you go to the mall, like there's like one specific room for karaoke.
Yeah.
So you just
I
rent
love
out
it.
that room for an hour and then you have fun with your friends.
Karaoke is fun. I can't sing for crap. I don't know. I am like tone deaf or something. I cannot actually carry a tune, but I know the words to so many songs. I just sing my heart. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
my family, like who cares?
Yeah, I mean even with my friends, although some of my friends like they can sing really well, we're like, don't sing well. This is
Have
a
fun. It's for
karaoke. No,
fun.
yeah, it's for fun, mess
Yeah.
up, so we don't feel so bad ourselves when we sing.
Now let me ask you this. What's your favorite food?
Sushi.
Oh, me too.
I love sushi. Yeah.
Gosh, me too. I could live and die on sushi, man.
Yeah.
And what is your, like, everyone sort of has a favorite time of the day. What's your favorite time of the day?
Wow. Probably in morning,
Morning?
but I'm not a morning person, but I love mornings. Probably because it's the time where it's so quiet and I can think, peacefully and
Uh-huh.
you don't hear anything but birds.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's right. What state do you guys live in?
Ohio.
No way.
Yeah, so we live in a subdivision in a country-ish area.
What's your town you live in?
What town? Marion.
I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I'm born and raised in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, really? That is near the Amish country, right?
Yeah, not far.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Dayton. We grew up in the country called West Milton. So I go to Ohio all the time. I love it up there.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Florida early this year, and I told my husband, let's just move here in Florida. It's so cold in Ohio. But then I realized, well, if we live in Florida, that means we have easy access to the beach and it will be normal to us now. I like here in Ohio, we have 4 seasons and we can enjoy summer, spring, winter, fall.
Yep. Yeah. I know where Marion, Ohio's at. That's funny. I did not picture you in Ohio for some reason.
Yeah, really.
Ohio's good. It's like the salt of the earth. It's like it's the Midwest. The people in Ohio are really good people.
Very warm, loving people.
Very
I mean, I'm telling you, like, I have not experienced any type of discrimination or racism ever since I got here. But I feel like it's different when I live like in the bigger cities, like California, New York, like it's very, I don't know. I feel like it's just different because I have heard so many like horror stories of like racism and discrimination out there. But here in Ohio, people are very warm,
so nice,
so loving. If you go to the grocery store, like the lady at the counter, like she'll talk to you, for an hour, they ask you about your personal life. They're very interested in getting to know you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I always feel like I have like just a good moral compass because I was raised with like good Christian parents in Ohio, and it is the Midwest, and people are just we're all just like neighborly.
Yeah.
So I always liked the fact that, but as I got to be 19, 20, I was like, I'm not living in Ohio, I'm going to Florida. So I actually moved to Florida, and I have a house there and in Colorado. So once I got to Florida, I was like, oh, my heart, because I just love the beach so much.
Yeah.
So I never moved back up there, but I go up there like 5 times a year and see my dad and my family and stuff. And
5 times a year, you said?
Yeah, 4 or 5 times. I go for my dad's birthday, I go for Father's Day. My stepmom, unfortunately, just passed away, but I used to go for her birthday. And so that's 3 times. And then my dad comes to see me. So I love Ohio. My dad is a hunter, so he belongs to this big bunch of guys that have like a deer camp, and they have some big giant 3-day roasting a pig barbecue thing, and I go for that. So I go to all kinds of stuff up there. It's fun.
Are you still a Buckeye fan?
Yeah. I mean,
you are.
I gotta still love my Buckeyes. So, all right. So now, just tell us one more time. How do people reach you?
Yeah, I'm very active on Instagram. Just type in Kristy Abby Yoder. So that's Kristy, Kristy Abby, ABBY, Yoder, YODER. And you can also go to my website, KristyYoder.com, where you can find everything, about my podcast, my virtual assistant agency, and everything else that I do.
Nice. So I always take some notes. I just kind of like to try to summarize and see if we just learned a little bit about who Kristy
I hope you do.
So you're my badass boss babe, Kristy Yoder, and you're from the Philippines. You have a virtual assistant agency, 70 plus VAs. You've helped over 200 businesses so far. You're at KristyYoder.com, Kristy Abby Yoder on Instagram, SmartVA.com. 2019, you got married. That's awesome. You met on a Christian dating site. So awesome. When you were young, you were wild and party and boy crazy. Totally get it. 22, you started to change a little bit. And by 27, you were like, you know what? It's time to like get my stuff straight. And somewhere along the way, you got saved, baptized. I'm assuming baptized too. And the tip for people that when they want to start learning how to delegate is to pick the one thing that they don't like and delegate that first. And I think that's a good tip because you can get rid of the one thing you hate the most. You'll realize that you spend a lot of mental energy on it that you didn't realize you spent on it.
Yep. You need to start small. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. And you love delegating. You like Coheed Cambria? Did I say it
Cambria,
right?
yeah.
Cambria. Okay, I'm going to listen to them today and learn who they are.
Let me know what you think of them.
I will text you and tell you what my favorite song was. You love sushi and you love the mornings. You love karaoke. And you're just a wonderful, beautiful human being.
Oh, thank you.
You really are. Is that a little bit?
Yes, I love it.
I always do a summary. I like to see, like, if I got the feel of who the person is. That's why I ask about music and food and stuff like that, because it kind of tells you about people. So first, I want to thank you for being on the show. And for everybody, tell me the name of your podcast.
The Master Delegator podcast.
Oh, that's right. Master Delegator. Okay. So I meant to ask you that earlier. And I saw that and I knew that, but I forgot to write it on my paper. So Master Delegator. And it's just Master Delegator, right? That's it. Okay. So everyone that's listening, I always ask you to do me a favor at the end of every show. If you laughed or had fun with us or learned anything new or anything like that, I want you to subscribe to my podcast and leave a 5-star review. And on the days when I just teach myself, I always read a couple reviews. if you'd like to have the chance to have your review read, you have to leave one. And I also want you to go to Kristy's, to Master Delegator, and listen to her podcast, which I'm honored I get to be a guest on her show as well. And like and subscribe to that, because podcasting is definitely an act of love. And it is a lot of work. And those of us that do it, it's because we really want to help teach and educate people in whatever it is that our field is. And we cannot be successful without you. So go to hers, subscribe, go to mine, subscribe, 5 stars only. We will not take any crappy reviews. And just follow us and stay with us and be on Instagram and be a part of all the fun. And I'm at Dwanderful.com. Also Dwanderful on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. No, not TikTok. I'm Dwantastic on TikTok. So on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. So I'm pretty easy to find. And so the last thing of the day is I want you to leave us with a parting word of wisdom, but just one actual single word.
Literally just one word?
One word.
I'd say courageous.
Oh, good word. Okay, guys, so courageous is your word of the week. So you're going to go out this week and you're going to be courageous, and you're going to take that and you're going to go, you know what? Kristy can do it. Dwan can do it. I can be courageous as well. Because honestly, it takes courage to do what we do.
Yep.
Most people don't start their own business because they're afraid they'll fail, and the failure keeps them from doing all the things that they could do. So courageous is a great word. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, everyone, we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And remember that the truth is in the red letters. Okay, everyone, ciao. And Kristy, thank you. You are so darling.
Thank you.